Hey, Dr. Josh Axe here, Doctor of Natural Medicine and founder of draxe.com. In this video, I'll be talking about how to fight PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder, using natural treatments such as essential oils, herbs and supplements, food as medicine, and other natural treatment protocols here as well. And I've taken care of thousands of patients over the years, and many with PTSD, and seen great results using natural therapies rather than synthetic drugs and medications. And the first thing I want to talk about is PTSD symptoms. Now, the first thing here is oftentimes it's normal to have a period of grieving or a period of emotional turmoil when somebody goes through something really challenging in life. But when it goes over 3 months and 4 months over time, it really can start to build disease and dysfunction within the body, which is one of the reasons why it's so important to start doing things to naturally improve the mood and improve overall emotional symptoms of PTSD. Now, PTSD is also reliving an event such as a nightmare, a flashback. They can be triggered by certain events as well. You want to avoid situations that remind you of the traumatic event, and negative changes in beliefs and feelings can often occur because of some sort of trauma that someone has experienced. And also, hyperarousal, trouble sleeping or concentrating can often happen. So again, these are some of the common symptoms of PTSD. Now, here are some big risk factors. And if anybody has ever been sexually abused or physically abused, that is a big common cause of PTSD. Drug and alcohol abuse tend to exacerbate it and make it worse over time, even though people will turn to drugs and alcohol typically to try and numb their pain. Number 3, surviving a natural disaster can oftentimes cause PTSD. War veterans, probably the highest as a percentage of people who go through post-traumatic stress disorder. And even things like a car accident, a fire, a terrorist attack, somebody surviving something very toxic and inflammatory to them and their emotional and physical health. All of these can increase and be risk factors of PTSD. You know, one of the first things I always recommend anybody with PTSD is get therapy and counseling. Seek a professional who can really walk you through and who have helped other people with PTSD. You know, 86% report improvements in symptoms that seek out counseling. You know, I think a lot of times, especially as men, we think, you know what? I don't need counseling. It sounds like this very negative thing. Well, hey, let's change the word. How about coaching there? You know, think about, for myself, I've used a coach over the years for a number of things in counseling because I want to continue to improve myself, make myself better, live my best life possible. So whether it's therapy or counseling or coaching, I think it's a really powerful thing to do to help you break free of any emotional bondage. Cognitive behavior therapy, CBT can be effective. And also, again, one of the things too, some people get by just sort of pushing things down and never talking about them. That's not a way to heal. If somebody has unforgiveness or a negative emotion that's sort of living with them, then it actually builds disease in the organs in their body. So even though it can be painful to bring these things up again, if you ultimately want to be set free, it is something you need to do working one-on-one with a counselor. Now, the other thing here is desensitization and exposure to fears. I want to mention a few things here. Prolonged exposure, discussing, facing, and recalling traumatic events. Sometimes, again, you got to bring them back up. That way you make sure that they're actually dealt with. Cognitive restructuring, it's discuss and make sense of the bad memories. Oftentimes, we don't really know what the bad memories are causing us to have certain behaviors, us acting out in anger or shutting ourselves off from the world. It's important to discuss those with somebody. And then eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. Focus on breathing, sounds, and hand movements while recalling the traumatic event. These are all specific ways or things you can do with a counselor to help you experience more freedom and just feeling a greater sense of improvement in PTSD symptoms. So let's talk about some supplements here that are great for treating PTSD. Number 1 is omega-3 fats. You know, omega-3 fats, especially DHA, which is found in wild-caught salmon, really supports the brain health. I'd recommend about 1,000 milligrams twice daily of an omega-3 fat supplement, ideally sourced from wild-caught fish. Organic multivitamin is great, kind of a full spectrum of nutrients that support the body. L-theanine. Now, L-theanine is a compound that's found in higher levels of organic or wild grown things like green tea. Sort of balances out the caffeine. Now you might have noticed if you've ever drinking a cup of coffee or tea and you got the jitters afterwards, that's typically because there were chemicals in there and lower levels of theanine. Theanine is what, if you have caffeine without theanine, you get jittery. The theanine is what allows you to have energy and feel good along with the caffeine. But if theanine's low and caffeine's high, typically people will get jittery, and it's not the effect you want in caffeine. But you can take just a straight theanine supplement that's very calming and relaxing to the mind and body. Melatonin is also great to improving giving your body a good night's sleep. And the other supplement I want to mention here is CBD. That's a type of cannabidiol. Now, many people have heard of also THC. When you're buying a marijuana plant or a cannabis plant, typically it will have THC and CBD in it. Now, what a lot of people have done today is they've been breeding high THC cannabis for recreational use. That's not what I'm recommending here. What I am recommending is considering just doing a straight CBD oil, or if you live in a state where it's legal, doing a cannabis strain that's high CBD, low THC, because THC can actually make the CBD more active. So again, in terms of a natural form of medicine, rather than doing anti-anxiety pills that have major side effects, cannabis is a much more natural and better option if you're doing high CBD, low THC, or just straight CBD oil. Very calming and actually uplifting to the parasympathetic nerve system, lowers your body's sympathetic fight or flight response. That's one of the things that can happen, especially in PTSD, is you can have this something that causes an increased sympathetic stimuli that almost puts you back in that situation. That's why CBD or high CBD cannabis is the ideal form of natural medicine for people with PTSD, because of how it lowers that sympathetic response, raises the parasympathetic response, and allows your body to relax and really your body to get in a better healing state. There's also many herbs that work well. Holy basil essential oil, also known as tulsi, very relaxing and calming to the body. That's an adaptogen that helps lower those cortisol levels and stress hormones. Green tea extract, bacopa, also very protective to the brain. So these are some of the best herbs there. And then of course doing things like turmeric can also be good as well. And then lavender essential oil, check this out. A 2013 study found that taking 80 milligrams of lavender oil, which is essentially 3 drops of lavender oil, alleviated insomnia, anxiety, and depression. And another study found it reduced depression by 32.7% in patients with PTSD. So this was a specific study. 3 drops of lavender oil daily had that improvement level on patients with PTSD. And you can add those lavender oil. Again, you can do 3 drops internally as it says in the study, or just use it topically. Do it in a bath. 5 to 20 drops of lavender oil with Epsom salts in a bath, very relaxing, or just using about 3 to 5 drops topically, especially on your wrist, your temples, and your neck is the best place to use this oil there as well. And then doing things like yoga and meditation. An NIH research study looked at doing yoga for 10 weeks to treat PTSD, and they found that increased happiness and reduced stress when doing this as well. So again, yoga can be a great thing, or meditation, really doing things that where you're focusing on something positive, deep breathing exercises. All of these things nourish the brain, calm the emotions, especially that sympathetic nerve system, is why this can be so beneficial there as well. And then of course, social and family support. Now again, I know everybody watching this may have a different religious belief. I'm a big believer in going in myself when I've been through trauma, or my family. A lot of times we get involved in a church group or support group. So again, getting really plugged in a church group or with a group of somebody who's gone what you've gone through. But in general, join a support group. This can decrease your feelings of isolation. Listen, isolation is not the remedy. Now, I am an introvert myself, and so a lot of times I like being by myself. But at the same time, when you're trying to, we are meant to be in community with other people. We have to spend some time being open, being vulnerable with people. And again, finding the right group to do that in can be very, very important. Finding a spiritual faith-based support also can reduce aggression and help heal the body as well. And then self-care and stress management. Doing just mild exercise, getting outside, walking trails, getting in nature can be so healing. Set realistic goals for yourself there as well. Reduce work-related stress. That's the other thing. If you continue to have stress on your body, it makes it harder for your body to heal. Surround yourself with positive people. I'd write down, hey, who are those 2 or 3 people that are negative in your life? Stop spending as much time with them and write down the 3 people you know that are encouragers. They make you a better person, and really focus on spending time with those people. I'll tell you, that might be the single most healing and therapeutic thing you can do. Remember, you become who you surround yourself with. And when you're around the right people, I'm telling you, it can be healing to the body and helping you overcome some of these symptoms. Journaling and reading also can be great. So remember some of these tips for treating PTSD naturally. Use supplements. We talked about things like theanine and CBD oil being great. Different herbs we talked about like bacopa, lavender oil, yoga meditation, social family support, and self-care and stress management. We know PTSD can be those symptoms can be difficult to overcome, but if you apply all the strategies given here, oftentimes you can see great results in being set free emotionally from the trauma that you've experienced in your life. And hey, if you've enjoyed this live training video, hey, feel free to subscribe here to my page. I got a lot more videos coming out on how to use essential oils and herbs and food as natural forms of medicine. And hey, if you want to learn more about PTSD and some natural forms of treatment, just search my name on Google, Dr. Axe PTSD. I've got more in-depth information on my website, draxe.com. I want to say thanks for watching this video on natural remedies and treating PTSD. Hi, Dr. Axe here. I want to say thanks so much for checking out this YouTube video, and also don't forget to subscribe if you want to get more great content on things like herbs, essential oils, natural remedies, and how to use food as medicine. Also, check out more of our content on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.